Hello, friends. Welcome back to Ask, and glad that you're going to hang out with us a little bit. I've got a kind of a fun panel today with some people that you may or may not know. They're good friends of mine. I thought today's question on Ask, wanted to tackle with what's it like to be kind of a family of somebody who works on church or a spouse of somebody who works on church. There are some kind of fun things about it, but maybe there may be some stressors or some things that maybe we might not be aware of. And so I've got a panel of experts in front of you. And I'm going to start with the cute bald-headed guy in the bunch and have him just have them introduce themselves and maybe who they're married to and kind of how long they've been around church world. And then this is just going to be a kind of a Q&A back and forth. And so sit back and enjoy. Who's the bald-headed guy? Who's that? Go ahead.
Well, hello. My name is Travis Ferris, and I am married to Sherry Ferris, who has been the children's director at Stonebridge for 5-ish or so years. And
seems like just a week ago.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Who's up next? Go ahead.
I'll go. I am Olivia Howard, and my husband is Zach Howard, who is the student pastor at Stonebridge, and we've been there for almost 2 years in June.
Very cool.
My name's Jamie Eisenberg. I'm married to Max. He is the worship director. We've been at Stonebridge somewhere, I think, between 4 and 5 years, but he's been the worship director for the last two years.
Okay, cool.
And I am Patti Warman. I am married to Mike, and I've been around Stonebridge since the inception about 13 years ago, and we have been doing ministry together, Mike and I, for about 35 years.
Yeah, that seems like a week ago, too.
It sure does.
Hey, so let me just throw this out there to get us started. When people find out that you're like one of those church families, or maybe that your spouse is on church staff, how have you found? Do you find that people treat you differently, or pretty normally, or kind of like, oh, give you a little holier than thou thing? Just kind of, what's been your experience with that?
Well, I think for me, at least, I get both sides. I think a little bit of the coin, depending upon who I'm talking to. I know in the past I've talked to coworkers before, and some of them know, like what my husband does. Maybe they've met him before, so it's no surprise. But there are conversations I have where, they'll be like, well, what does your husband do? And then I share with them one of, the things he does as a student pastor, and they kind of go, oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said the things I just said about 5 minutes ago, because you probably took weeks to let out. And I'm like, no. I said, it sometimes almost, it creates conversation, but sometimes it can also make people think that they can't be themselves. So to say, they have to put a little face on. But I get the other side too, in a way that when they find that out, it can be very encouraging to them. Knowing that, maybe that someone you can talk to about questions about faith, or just having another person amongst you that believes in Jesus. So it's just an easy way for me to share that, what we believe. And sometimes no one ever has run away from me,
okay.
But definitely
that's a good thing.
Their posture changes a little bit sometimes. And I always try to just be like, hey, it's cool. Like, I promise, no, there's no need to do that. Just be yourself. So.
I've had a similar experience that Olivia has had. People will immediately apologize for their language. And I laugh and I'll say, well, guess what? We argue at our house too, so don't worry about a thing. One of the lines that I used to say years ago, which is not so relevant anymore, was, I know I'm a pastor's wife, but I do not wear my hair in a bun, and I do wear makeup. And that kind of breaks the ice and gets everybody laughing. And as soon as possible to just get each other on equal footing, because we really all are on equal footing. And I want to be as authentic as I can right from the beginning, so that they're free to share their normal lives with me and their hurts and worries. And I find that people are generally more quick to trust me with their hurts or concerns. And I'm thankful for that, because that's what I like to do.
Cool. Jamie, you and Travis were like both ready to jump in there. So
sorry.
Well, mine's just, I guess maybe because of the shorter amount of time, I'm not sure, but I have been nervous to say what he does, especially because like ministry is new and us being active in a church as adults is newer. But no one's ever been weird or anything. They usually ask about Stonebridge or then tell us where they go. And so it's been easy. So I think they're, been eased into it. Someday I'll get a shocked face or something awkward, but so far it's been easy.
Fair enough. Travis, what about you guys?
For me, I haven't experienced much of people having to adjust their language or anything. I get more of the questioned look like, so a children's director, is that kind of like daycare? Kids are kids. And so we'll kind of explain, kind of what that is. But it does kind of open up some opportunities, I guess, where they know that you're involved, at least that you're involved in church, whether or not they understand maybe what it is that you do. The fact that you are involved in church, I think, gives them a little bit of license to, you're seen as a safe person.
Okay.
And that they can kind of share some things with if they needed to.
Okay.
So
okay.
That's kind of nice.
Let me ask you this. What has been enjoyable or pleasant about being someone that's pretty plugged in a local church? Is there anything that comes to mind that has been kind of, you would say, is a plus, to being either on staff or being kind of, in the know and what's happening?
I'm wired to love to know what's going on. Like, Max knows what's going on and is indifferent that he knows. But I like knowing what's going on. And so, and if like something comes out that I don't understand, I know that like he might have the answer. So it's real easy to ask a quick question and get an answer about something. So, and I really like that. And part of it is the size of our church, but like I feel at home. Like if something needs to be done or I see something, like our church family and our building's not intimidating, and I know I can go find someone or to do something or to fix something or just take care of it.
Gotcha. Okay. Somebody else. What's been pleasurable, pleasant, been a good thing?
I mean, I think part of it is just always knowing you're taken care of. I don't think that, we don't not take care of our members because I think we do that really well. But I think sometimes there's a little extra step there just because they know that, like for instance, if Zach's gone on a trip with the students and I'm home with the girls by myself, just people checking in on me and making sure I'm okay, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of nice to have that. You kind of have unlimited resources a little bit there. Also, like, whenever we need a babysitter, we have unlimited babysitters usually because we can call and be like, hey, the student pastor's wife needs a babysitter tonight or whatever. So there is definitely some resources that we can tap into. And I'm kind of the opposite of Jamie. I actually don't like to know what's going on. And so it's kind of nice because I'm like, Zach's got it handled. He knows what's going on. And then I can just sit back and be like, it's going to be okay. And so, so that's kind of the flip side of that. But I do think definitely there always is an extra, I feel like just somebody extra checking in on me that maybe I don't even know in the congregation. They sometimes just reach out to me because they feel connected because we're connected to a staff member. So that's really cool to see because we really need that sometimes. So
yeah, I'm kind of the same way. With serving on different ministries myself, there's some things that I'll know from maybe serving on a ministry, but I don't really know what's going on in Sherry's world a whole lot of times because that's her job. And so like, I don't really share much about what's going on at my work. I'm working on a project. She knows I'm doing that. I know she might be working on VBS, but I don't really get into the nitty gritty about what's going on in her world.
I think one of the things that I have found most fun about being married to a guy in ministry is actually fun. Doing things, being creative, thinking of ways to reach people, and sort of getting a front row seat, not necessarily to know up front what's happening, but to get a front row seat to see big things that God is doing. That's always been really fun for me. And like Olivia said, our kids growing up were very well loved by the people in the church. And I know there's sometimes kind of a negative backlash about pastors' kids and difficult things they face. And that's true. We can talk about that later, but they all do know that the church family loves them, and they might know them and actually pay attention to them more than other kids, just because they are so visible. And so that was kind of an extra added perk that you hope outweighs, some of the difficult things that happen.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let's go down there for a little bit. We've got kids of various ages. A couple of you are newer to ministry, but you really aren't, Olivia. I mean, you and Zach have been in church work for a long time, right? And so let's talk about what's it been like for the whole family and for your kids. And again, I respect that a couple of you got younger kids, but what do you perceive has been maybe some of the pluses of having kids who are part of a family that's on the staff at a local church?
Well, I mean,
and I'll tell you, let me do it first, and let me just speak, because I don't want to just put you guys on the spot. My kids were the first to volunteer. I'll tell you that, right? We were my kids, a few years back at Stonebridge, we needed someone to before we had Max, we needed a guitar player, and so I told my son, "Hey, you're up on Sunday," and they hated it, But that was one of the what do I want to say? The hazards of being a church kid. So, what about you guys?
They didn't always hate it.
No,
some of the things they hated, but some of the things they loved, and they are volunteering for ministry became natural to them because of that.
Yeah. All right, but what about your families? What's been that trickle down effect with your kids?
Yeah, we see that a lot here. At first it was, so we're doing this as a family, the church is doing this activity, and where are we going to serve, and where are you going to do this? And, so it's got a little bit of its pros and cons, like you said, as far as, if they misbehave or something like that, it's, I can't believe they allow that in the house. Well, maybe we don't. Maybe the kids just...
yeah, right. Kids are kids, right?
Good.
Yeah.
Kids are just... they're just normal people. And so there's a little bit of maybe pressure that I feel, but I try not to let that, I try to just let the kids be kids and just try to put them where they're going to succeed. So like one kid is outgoing. So I'll have him volunteer with doing things that are outgoing. One might be a little bit shy. So, hey, there's a broom. You can go be by yourself, and you can find a way to serve. But being able to let them see firsthand how that it takes a lot of people, and that how God uses different people in different ways, and there's always a way that you can get involved, and that is just a way that you can kind of worship, is serving God, and that's been really cool to see and kind of shape them and shape their hearts.
Okay.
And it's been really neat.
All right, somebody else.
Yeah, I think the balance for us, just making sure that, that they see us serving, they see us, they've just been devastated not being able to go to church. Like we mentioned anything about church. They're like, we're going to church now? It's been really hard because that's their family. And so, I think that's one of the cool things of those kids. They really latch on really quickly, and they can have opportunities, because, we are the first to volunteer them for something. So it's kind of nice because they, they are almost, I don't want to say forced into serve, but they get those opportunities. And then just having people that they consider pretty much their family, like Pastor Mike, I don't know if you know this, but today Harper was going through her list of people she was inviting for her birthday party next month, and Pastor Mike made the list.
Oh!
I thought that was pretty cool because, and I kind of asked her a little bit, and it was pretty much because now she's been watching you virtually, up on the screen, and so you're kind of a celebrity to her now. So because you're on TV, so.
But she knows.
You didn't explain to her it was desperation. That's really all that is, Olivia. It's just desperation where we are.
Cool because they get this second family because we are on staff and we're there a lot, we're around, these guys a lot, and so it just becomes kind of a second family for them and a support system. So that's really cool. We do have our moments where we are not perfect, and we try really hard to show them that, there is a line where we can't just 24/7, being at the church or whatever. We've got to find a good balance. But I know, and I've shared this before, but like just trying to find ways to bring them in with me when we have to minister, like, if we have to go grocery shopping, bring a couple, girls along with me to, entertain them while I'm trying to get my groceries or something like that, so we can find a good balance. But they really just feel very loved, I know. And we do feel pressure, I know, to try to make them perfect or whatever. But I know that overall it's kind of cool to have that extra family, so to say. So. Okay.
Patti, Jamie, you guys want to add anything?
I was just going to say, Olivia, something she said made me think of it, just that kids are so comfortable there. Like can be a hard balance because they think they own the place.
Sure.
They're used to being there sometimes when no one else is there, and they can do things that you can't just do on Sunday, like run up and start playing the drums. Like, it's great at being on stage, but we can't let every kid up on stage all the time. Like, that's going to cause a problem. So it's just, it's that funny balance of they're real comfortable in that building.
There you go. Hey, what about any stressors? Have you noticed anything in that's sort of maybe sometimes there's a bad rap that comes with church staff, or there's a negative thing that maybe a lot of people don't understand or can appreciate because they don't see it. They just see us on Sundays. But have you found any kind of the negative, ugly side of being in part of ministry? Because we have a perfect church, so maybe not, Yeah.
I don't know if it would be like an ugly side, but maybe a little anecdotal is, like our spouses, like Sunday that's the work day, right? So she's working. That's her job. And so she can't really socialize much, on Sundays. And so I'll find that people will think I'm a good conduit when they want to, oh, hey, can you tell your wife about, and I'll do my best, but I think people think that we talk about church more than what we do. And it's like,
that is true.
Sorry, like her job and what she does, and then my job and what I do is like way down here. It just does, a lot of times it just does not come above the line. And so we just don't talk about it. So.
Yeah.
We've had more than one person upset, when you agree, Patti, with the assumption that because I know something about church stuff or Patti knows something about church stuff, that equates that the other person knows. And that can be very frustrating sometimes for people in church.
I mean, sometimes it's a lighthearted thing like, no, I don't know where all the toilet paper is kept when they run out. I don't know all of those things, and I don't have church keys. But also on a serious side, there are some times that people come to you as a pastor for counsel, and they share deep and painful things. And sometimes they say, please share this with Patti. But if they don't, you don't tell me. And I think, and that's for my protection, so that I can feel normal walking into church and not feel uncomfortable around them, or them to feel uncomfortable around me. And it's also for their protection, so that they know that their privacy is kept. Sometimes people will share a hurt with you and they'll assume that I know. And so occasionally I'll remind people, if you've talked to Pastor Mike about something sensitive, he has not shared that with me because he respects your privacy. If you'd like me to know, please tell me, or please tell him that you'd like him to share that with me. Because I don't want people to think that I don't care, but I don't always know. So don't assume that I know what Mike knows. Yeah. That's on purpose.
Yeah. That's definitely both of those, it's hard to, they assume that what they know, or I know for me, it's just, I have to remind people that I don't work at the church, like kind of what Travis was saying too, and kind of what Patti's saying too. Like, I love being a volunteer. It's kind of different because my call to ministry of volunteering is the same ministry my husband feels called to. So that's kind of where we, it's hard to find that place of, I have to say, remember, I'm a volunteer too, kind of thing. And I love to do all I can to help, but I have to know too that, Zach's he's the guy that's there that's been hired to minister, and I'm going to do everything to support him. And sometimes that's watching my kids or, making sure that we have a good balance of whatever it is. I know like Wednesday nights have been a little bit of a struggle for us because we're both supposed to be on a Zoom call at the same time ministering to kids, and I'm trying to keep my kids entertained and feed them and get them to bed. And so it's been good. They've done really well with it. But at the end of the day, I always tell Zach, like, if I have to hang up on the Zoom call, I have to hang up, because part of that is ministering to my husband and letting him do that part. So that's always been a struggle for me too. It's just being like, and I get something told to me or handed to me, and I'm like, make sure you tell my husband, because I don't know if I'll be able to remember to do that. Exactly. But I try my best. But I don't mind supporting. It's just I try to have. It's hard to draw those lines, and no one usually does it out of anything but just good intentions. So yeah, that's a hard. I think people mean well, and they just make some assumptions that aren't necessarily true, right? Hey, look at that. This goes with this question. So just kind of, we run in different circles, we rub shoulders with different people. What have you found that people have done that's really been an encouragement to maybe your spouse or to your family? If someone's watching this and they think, I think they might have a harebrained idea of something practical they could do that would say that they appreciate your family or they're thankful for your family. What are some things that have happened that you guys have felt like, wow, that was meaningful to us? That was really cool. You understand what I mean? Just kind of what could people do to be an encouragement to your family?
One of the things that really was life-altering for me was there were some, here we go, the Warman criers, here we go. When one of our kids was really, really struggling with depression, and a friend came up to me and said, I pray for her every day, and I'd written out my prayers for her. And just knowing that we were not struggling through a dark teen time alone was really quite amazing. And the permission to be just like everybody else and have your child struggle was really delightful. That was a huge encouragement to me, because I do think that on some level, Satan goes after our staff families. Sometimes in ways when he sees God moving, he tries to bring us down through our kids. And so that was really a big encouragement to us.
Somebody else, what's happened that's really been an encouragement to your family, or that you could foresee, if someone really wanted to lift your spirits, what could they maybe think about doing or saying? Or
Well, I know that we were only at Stonebridge for a couple months, and both of my grandmothers passed away within 3 weeks of each other. And so honestly, there was no expectation for anything, other than just support there for us. But it was really cool just to see, there were lots of random things that happened during that time. Even just like people showing up, like people that we'd only known a couple of months on staff or in the church just showed up to be at a visitation or just showed up at our door with something. The Eisenbergs mailed us ice cream, which was amazing. And we had, plants, and things that we still have in our home that were shared with us. So it's just those kind of random little things that I think especially when something's not going well, that just kind of help you have to not think about those things, that just those little things just show you that somebody's thinking of you. So it can be something small, like a note. It can be something big, like something, huge. So I think it's just always just making sure that, just showing that we're conscious that we know that it's not easy and we are here for you. I think that's a way that we try to minister, but I know sometimes it's nice to get that reciprocated too. So.
Yeah. Good observation. Jamie, Travis, anything come to mind?
Olivia talked about notes. We've gotten some cards and notes in the mail, and they're just really, a note doesn't always take long, but to get that onto the to-do list and then to done it means something. So it's just really, they're thoughtful, and it's just nice that we know that Stonebridge people are thinking of us and praying for us and supportive of Max, because what he's doing, like all of our spouses, it's weekly, right? Like you get one done and it's just like, okay, what do we got for next week? Because it doesn't end. So
sometimes I liken it to people who maybe are watching out in the corporate world of having a major presentation every 7 days. You know, I mean, many people have to do a presentation, but rare is the person that maybe every week you need to be on, you know, and that takes a different, it's a different kind of mindset and sometimes a toll, you know. So yeah, good catch there. Travis, what about you guys? What could be encouraging or has been helpful?
Yeah, I think kind of just what everybody else has said, knowing that you make a difference. We love what we do. We feel like God has gifted us in certain ways, and so we're probably going to do those things anyway. But to see that your efforts are making an impact is really cool. And whether that be like, you know, just in Sherry's world, you know, little kids learning to share and being able to see, oh, you'll never guess what my kid did, or oh, you know what, you told this story, and this week my kid was telling me about, you know, or whatever, and that's just huge. I think kind of, and just taking those, like Jamie said, those good intentions, and I wanted to, and then now I actually did it, and just taking a moment and sharing that. I'm thinking I even coached soccer, and it was sometimes I'm trying to tell them about this really important thing that they need to know, and then they're telling me about them losing a tooth or something. But that was so cool because we're making a connection, and that was an important thing, and that was going on in their life. And then now they're sharing that with me. That was really cool. And so
I was just going to say, if something that anybody on staff encourages you or really makes an impact on your walk with the Lord or with one of your kids or family members, let them know. Or this is one thing you can tell the spouse. Let them know they said this and it really encouraged my son or daughter, or that really changed life for me. Because they hear plenty of criticisms, believe me, and those sting and those hurt. But knowing that they're making a difference in other people's lives, no matter on what level, is always going to fuel any of us and any of the staff members to keep on going and serving.
Yeah.
Hebrews 6:10 says that God is not unjust, that he will not forget your labor of love that you have shown him and shown his people. And so I just want to thank you guys for hanging out. Thanks for what you guys do behind the scenes and allowing your spouses to do what they do. I think that's a big deal. If you've been watching this episode of Ask, you may not be a part of Stonebridge. You may be part of another local church, and I can only just encourage you, whether you're Stonebridge or another church, man, take to heart some of what's been said and just use the power of your encouragement to kind of lift these people. Be praying for staff. Those notes are important. Those verbal coming alongside when you see them, when we get back together on a Sunday and just saying, hey, you know, I really appreciated this or this meant something to me, goes a long, long way. Thank you guys for hanging out. We will see you all again real soon. And those of you that have been watching on the YouTube channel, thanks for hanging out with us. Take care. God bless you. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.